Have you ever wondered why they're installing 5G towers near schools, hospitals, and even in the middle of nowhere? No one talked about this on TV. It didn't make the news, but it happened. In at least 3 countries, engineers found military components inside these towers. And the creepiest part, some of them emit frequencies that affect your sleep, your mood, your choices. Sounds insane, right? But what if 5G isn't just about speed? What if it's about control? Control of your mind. What you're about to hear is not a theory. It's documents, patterns, and real evidence no one wants you to see. Or worse, they don't want you to even think about. But what if it's all true? Most people think 5G is just faster internet. But no one talks about why governments poured billions into this tech, and so quickly. In 2018, before people even got used to 4G, 5G infrastructure was already being installed in dozens of countries. The strange part, some of these towers went up in remote areas with barely any cell service. Why prioritize places like that? Few people notice this, but 5G isn't just about speed. It operates on extremely high frequencies, some similar to those used in crowd control weapons, like the US Army's active denial system. That means the same network that powers your phone could also mess with your brain. And it's not just speculation. Declassified Pentagon documents show research on millimeter waves affecting human behavior. And the weirdest part? In many cities, 5G towers were disguised, hidden as trees, streetlights, even utility boxes. If it's just harmless tech, why hide it? Installation approvals are rarely public. No hearings, no debates. It's like someone was in a rush to get this live without anyone asking questions. But that was just the beginning. In 1976, the CIA ran a little-known experiment called MK Ultra-Wave Extension. They wanted to know if electromagnetic frequencies could induce fear, euphoria, even hallucinations. The result? They found certain waves, barely detectable to human ears, could alter brainwave patterns. It was documented, filed, and disappeared. Years later, 5G began operating on nearly identical frequencies. You won't believe this, but in 2020, a group of independent scientists in Sweden tested those same frequencies in a lab. Volunteers reported sudden anxiety, insomnia, and vivid nightmares. The study silenced. The website was taken down, and the researchers vanished from public view. Coincidence? Or was someone trying to bury the truth? Now think, those frequencies are all around you. And it gets weirder in Tokyo. Researchers developed a prototype neural antenna using 5G pulses. Its official purpose? Monitoring real-time cognitive responses. But who decides what's being monitored and by whom? That's when things started to spiral out of control. Have you ever noticed where 5G towers are located? Schools, hospitals, residential zones, daycares, but it goes deeper. In at least 11 countries, towers were found in areas with almost no population, yet built with expensive infrastructure. Satellite images from ESA show active towers in the Gobi Desert and even on uninhabited islands. Why broadcast signal to places with no people? The answer might lie in what was found in Canada in 2021. When engineers dismantled one tower, they discovered hardware that wasn't in the blueprints. Military-grade boards and low-frequency emitters. The story never made it to mainstream media, but screenshots and testimony surfaced on anonymous forums. Days later, those engineers were legally barred from speaking. And the tower? Rebuilt. Stronger. And here's the creepiest part. In cities with high tower density like London and New York, mental health issues have skyrocketed in the last 5 years. Just a coincidence, or the side effect of a silent global experiment? And that sets when things got even darker. In 2019, a supposed leak from the US military revealed a project few people know, Silent Field. According to the files, it was an experiment on collective perception control through field stimulation, its core tech. Frequencies eerily close to those used in 5G, emitted in synchronized pulses. The goal? Test whether mass emotions could be influenced, without anyone realizing it. These documents mentioned urban simulations and even referenced the use of audio-visual content. Ever watched something on your phone and suddenly felt uneasy? Maybe it's not just the video. Maybe the field around you is acting on you too. The most disturbing part? One report listed Brazil as a discrete testing field, especially in high-density urban zones. You're probably asking, is this real? Well, Silent Field has never been officially acknowledged. But reports of ear ringing, random panic attacks, and headaches surged in multiple cities right after 5G activation. Too much of a coincidence. And here sits the question no one dares to ask. There's something you've probably never noticed, but your body has. In 2022, South Korean researchers found that 5G emits micro vibrations below the threshold of human hearing. You don't hear it, but your body reacts. Lab animals exposed to it showed heart rate changes, blood pressure spikes, and disrupted memory processing. It's like something is whispering in the back of your mind, constantly. And guess what? On the dark web, users began posting identical experiences: brain fog, short-term memory loss, and persistent anxiety. Most of them living in 5G-saturated zones. One engineer in Nevada documented that all his symptoms disappeared after spending 3 days in a signal-free area. He said it was the first time he'd slept peacefully in months. Now think about it. 5G is everywhere. Phones, cars, appliances, even traffic lights. You might think you're in control, but what if the signal is already inside you? And that sips where it gets even more sinister. You won't believe what was discovered in Geneva. A so-called telecom consultancy lab was found running a software linked to local 5G towers, programmed to change frequencies based on the time of day. At night, the signal shifted. Why? To affect REM sleep. The goal? Influence dreams, shape fears, plant ideas. This kind of manipulation was tested before, but never on a global scale. What's even more shocking is that this system, nicknamed NeuroPulse, was developed by a firm with direct government contracts. In an anonymous interview, one former employee said, "This isn't just tech, it's psychological warfare. And if he's right, then your mind might already be mapped without your consent." The scariest part? There are no sirens, no tanks, no shots fired, just comfortable silence and invisible waves passing through your walls, your skin, your thoughts. But maybe the worst part is still to come. In 2023, a team of neuroscientists in Germany published a paper barely anyone saw, and it was deleted within 48 hours. The title? Microwave Fields and Decision-Making: Behavioral Interference in Smart Cities. It claimed that high-frequency signals could influence micro-decisions in the human brain. Tiny choices, barely noticeable, like clicking a link or trusting a headline. Now imagine that happening to billions of people at once. Still think it's sci-fi? In 2021, Huawei filed a patent for a behavioral targeting system based on wireless neural feedback. And guess which technology supports that? That's right, 5G. The system is already functional. All it needs is the green light from those in charge. But what if that green light was already given? What if every thought you have is already being influenced? What if the idea of freedom is just another signal you received? If none of this is coincidence, then maybe the world has already changed and we just didn't notice. If this is real, then the enemy isn't set outside. It's already in your home, in your devices, in your thoughts. You wake up thinking you made your own choices, but maybe you were guided by a signal, silent, invisible, pushing you without your consent. So tell me, how many of your thoughts are really yours? And how many were placed there through too much tech and too little questioning? If this made sense to you, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and share this with someone else who deserves to know the truth.